public would pull it, that would knock the switch down, right? And inside that, that switch would go, and this would activate the gearwork, and that gearwork would, through a solenoid, establish a series of marks.
My name is Peter McBride. I'm retired with the Ottawa Fire Service after 32 years, and most recently been acting as president of the Bytown Fire Brigade. The Bytown Fire Brigade preserves, conserves, and restores historical fire apparatus and artifacts with a focus on Canada's capital, but certainly the whole country. We have probably the largest collection of antique fire vehicles in Canada. What's represented here is probably a third of what we have. A number of pieces are stored in other locations throughout the city, and we'll bring those out for events. This apparatus here goes back to the 1840s, 1850s, and we have an old Model T from 1922. Anything that has to do with the history of the fire service is many towns, cities have been impacted by fire, and Ottawa is a city that was shaped by fire. Historically, the great fires that happened in Ottawa, and as a result of lumber milling within the town, and fires that swept through, forest fires. We're seeing that in the news with climate change, but in those days, the big issue was the fuels that were lying around, particularly in the lumber yards. I joined the Bytown as a member many years ago, and I was made aware of this banner. The banner had been stored in the old Bytown Museum down at the canal, and it was transferred to the Bytown Fire Brigade as it was a fire memorabilia. At that time, having been made aware of it, and we transferred it into city archives and unrolled it, and with the intent to photograph it and digitally restore it. And that didn't work out. The state it was in, it's actually a very unique piece of, a unique artifact. It's unique in that it's oil on silk on cotton. And those combinations, and being from 1840, make it such that it's deteriorating very quickly. Much of the materials, the paint had started to lift in different places, so the difference between 2013 and 2023 was dramatic in terms of how further it had degraded, despite us having placed it in a climate-controlled environment. Photolux came in and with their skills, knowledge, and ability offered to do it for us, as well as the digital restoration. It's just nice to see something come back to life like this, a dream. It's been a dream to bring this artifact back to life. We want to see it in a prominent place within the city. It is our history, and it's the history of not only Bytown, but the eventual growth of the whole city of Ottawa. The banner itself depicts the Chaudière engine, and that engine has at each end of it two firefighters. It typically would have 4 men on each handle, so it would take 16 firefighters, and they might be good for 15-20 minutes. That's intense pumping. It would produce a stream that would easily hit a 3rd floor. It's important not only to the brigade, but it's also important to Ottawa Fire Services, in as much as it's their first fire engine. And so we'd like to make sure that they have a copy of it, and it becomes part of the culture of the Ottawa Fire Service.